This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you for joining us for this first edition of CBN NewsWatch for Tuesday, December 5th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the body of former President George Herbert Walker Bush lies in state in Washington as political leaders from both parties remember and honor the 41st president. Plus, Israel launches a military operation to get rid of tunnels that could be used for attacks against the Jewish state. And we'll look at what's made President Trump's economic plan successful and why he's so involved in a trade battle with China. All those stories and much more are ahead in today's edition of CBN NewsWatch. We want to begin, though, in Washington as the nation's capital is taking a break from partisan warfare this week to remember the country's longest-living president. In a powerful ceremony at sunset on Monday, the body of George Herbert Walker Bush arrived at the Capitol from Houston. During a ceremony in the Capitol Rotunda, leaders on both sides of the aisle remembered the former president, not only for his political achievements, but for his civility. Vice President Mike Pence remembered meeting Bush in 1988.
I was struck by his approachability. There was a kindness about the man that was evident to everyone who ever met him. All his years in public service were characterized by kindness, modesty, and patriotism.
And our reporter Heather Sells is following the story for us. Heather, I understand that Bush chose to have a simpler remembrance in the Capitol.
Right. Well, it's interesting because the family and, of course, the president themselves can decide what they want to have. And they decided not to have a funeral procession through downtown Washington. So keeping it a little bit simpler than they could have.
This seems to be a moment of coming together in Washington.
Yeah, you are hearing a lot of leaders talk about civility. You're also seeing Congress make a decision that we were not going to talk about the shutdown. We're not going to vote on a shutdown till after the services are over.
What are some of the ways you think Bush will be remembered this week?
He is going to be remembered, I think, a lot for his character, as you just saw what Mike Pence said. Specifically, there will be a service at the National Cathedral tomorrow, and the president has declared tomorrow a national day of mourning. And then on Thursday, there will be a service for him in Houston, and then at College Station, where the presidential library is, he will be buried.
All right, our Heather Sells, thank you so much for following the story for us today. And today on CBN's Faith Nation, we're going to talk to Kristen Clark-Taylor. She was the Director of Media Communications for the Bush administration. That is today on Faith Nation. It begins at 6 p.m. Eastern, right on the CBN News channel. Be sure to tune in for that. The Israel Defense Forces announced that it had launched a military operation along Israel's northern border with Lebanon overnight to destroy Iranian-backed Hezbollah-attacked tunnels along the border. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl brings us that story now from Jerusalem.
It's called Operation Northern Shield.
That operation is aimed to expose and to destroy cross-border attack tunnels that the terrorist organization Hezbollah has been digging from within civilian houses in Lebanon into Israel, violating Israeli sovereignty, as well as UN Resolution 1701.
IDF spokesman Jonathan Conricus said Hezbollah has been hiding their efforts within the civilian infrastructure.
We, the IDF, have been on their tails. For the last 4 years, we have been monitoring their activity, following what they have been doing quite closely.
Israel's foreign ministry spokesman Emmanuel Nachshon said Hezbollah is under the direction of Iran.
Hezbollah is a dangerous terror organization acting out of Lebanon under the orders of Tehran, and its purpose is to inflict damage to Israel and to Israeli citizens. And by acting the way we do, we protect our population. It is an act of aggression, and we will do all the necessary in order to protect Israel and the Israeli citizens.
The IDF has been implementing what it called a unique defensive plan called Defensive Obstacle Project over the last few years. Earlier, CBN News was invited to cover the construction of that project, which included building a defensive wall, creating cliffs, and clearing vegetation. In a telephone briefing, Reserve Colonel Attai Shalach, former commander of the unit in charge of dismantling tunnels, said it was just a matter of time before Israel would launch such an operation. He compared Hamas tunnels to those of Hezbollah.
So I've told it many times that Hamas, if we are comparing to the Hezbollah, it's like a kindergarten, while the Hezbollah is the university of the tunnels. Hamas used the tunnel for tactic operations. Hezbollah used the tunnel for strategic operation, and it's a big difference.
The IDF made it clear that the operation is entirely inside Israel, but it could inflame tensions along the border. Israel is on high alert for any possible Hezbollah reaction. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Here now is a quick look at some of the other stories we're following for you today inside the CBN newsroom. A cold snap is covering much of the nation this week as winter weather grips the United States from coast to coast, and on its heels, snow. Parts of the country that don't see as much winter snow may see a snowstorm. Meteorologists are saying a winter weather system will move from Texas to the southeast heading into the weekend, and even places like the Florida Panhandle may only reach 32 degrees. Elementary school children from Paradise, California have returned to school almost a month after their town virtually burned to the ground in the campfire that swept through that part of the state. Very few of them actually returned to their original school buildings, which were damaged or destroyed by the fire. So they're meeting in other temporary locations. Counselors say the children and their families are traumatized after losing their homes and just about everything else due to the wildfire. Students with the intermediate and high schools will do distance learning until their school district can declare their building safe or find other locations for the upper classes to meet. Popular Christian and Grammy-nominated singer Lauren Daigle couldn't say if homosexuality is a sin because there are people she loves who are homosexual and she is not God. Daigle's response came when she was featured as a guest on the Dominic Nadi show on iHeartRadio last week. She responded to the question saying she can't honestly answer that question. She also said, quote, "I have too many people that I love that they are homosexual. I don't know. I actually had a conversation with someone last night about it. I can't say one way or the other. I'm not God." And you can find more on these stories and others throughout the day, always at cbnnews.com. France's prime minister announced today that tax increases on fuel will be suspended. That was a major U-turn for France in an effort to appease the anti-government protest movement after more than 130 people were injured and 412 arrested in Paris Saturday. Dale Hurd explains how the fuel tax united people from across France's political spectrum in the Yellow Vest movement because they're fed up with the government and high taxes.
The French are used to high taxes, but it was a new carbon tax that finally brought French taxpayers to the tipping point and ignited the worst protest in 50 years. With gasoline prices higher than $6 a gallon and years of wage stagnation for the average Frenchman, many in France could feel themselves becoming poorer, while the income gap with the wealthy became wider. So what began as a single-issue protest over a gas tax has mushroomed into a broad-based anti-government rebellion, with a growing list of demands too long for the government to meet, and more different political groups joining the revolt. The coordinator of the Yellow Vest movement says first the demand was over the gasoline price, but that was only the spark. Now we see demands coming from everywhere. Why? Because people are fed up. This protester says our purchasing power is shrinking enormously every day. And then taxes, taxes, and taxes. And the state is asking us to tighten our belts, but they're doing the opposite, living well with our money. The breakdown of trust between the French government and these protesters is profound and serious. And with approval ratings that have dipped below 20%, many are now asking if French President Emmanuel Macron can survive. Unfortunately for France, where some joke that it is the one nation where communism succeeded, a more pro-business approach like Macron was pushing might have helped free France from socialism and kickstart its economy. But the reforms never seem to pay off. Now, as the Yellow Vest movement grows, any hopes that it will somehow die out have gone up in flames. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
With the Trump administration's temporary truce on trade dispute with China, and what have been the key points of the president's plan that has brought America's economy back? We're going to have that conversation with one of the president's economic advisors when we come back.
God Almighty is a God of blessing. He always wants to bless His people. But how do you get that blessing? And what principles will unlock that secret?
In Miraculous Blessings, Pat Robertson shows you how to open the floodgates of God's awesome blessings in your life.
In order to have a blessing, you've got to be blessable.
Discover what the Bible has to say about God's covenant of blessing, the laws of blessing, and what are the hindrances to the blessings of God.
The words of Jesus, they are as valid as the law of gravity, and if we follow those laws, we will be blessed.
You'll see amazing true stories of everyday people whose lives were rescued and transformed by God's miraculous blessings.
But even the doctors acknowledge that this had to be a miracle.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit CBN.com to become a CBN partner and get miraculous blessings today.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
The stock market shot up Monday following the weekend word that the U.S. and China had reached a temporary truce in their trade dispute. Our CBN News financial editor Drew Parkhill spoke with one of the president's economic advisors, Steve Moore, about the trade situation with China and about a new book Moore co-authored on the president's plan to revive the economy. It's called Trumponomics. Here's a look at that interview.
Steve Moore, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, down in Buenos Aires, President Trump worked with China to get this, 90-day ceasefire. Why is he focusing his trade talks so specifically on China?
Well, because China is the bad actor in the world. They're the one that's cheating and stealing and building up their military in a very aggressive and dangerous pattern. And finally, we have a president, Donald Trump, who is basically saying we're going to stand up to you and we're going to stand toe to toe. And Trump, this was a big victory for Donald Trump in Buenos Aires. He basically said, look, if you're not going to change your behavior, you're going to get hit with these very punitive tariffs. He's using these tariffs, Drew, as a kind of negotiating tactic to get China to behave itself. Now, was this a huge victory? No, because, we've got to have some verification from the Chinese. I mean, they will say one thing and do the other thing. It's to remember what Reagan used to say, trust but verify. We're going to need that with China.
And in Washington, everybody said China's a bad actor, but they wouldn't really do anything about it, and he actually is. Exactly. Now, let's talk about your book, folks. Here it is. It's called Trumponomics. Now, you met Trump when he was a candidate, and then you helped put together a plan for his program, for his presidency. What are the basic points of his plan? So
this was Larry Kudlow, who's now the chief economist for Donald Trump, and Art Laffer, the famous author of Reaganomics, and myself. And we met with Trump, and, we just really were taken by he's a force of nature, Donald Trump. And we loved what he was talking about. He had the look of a winner, and so we got involved with them. And really what Trump wanted to do, people always ask me, what is Trumponomics about? And I would say in one sentence, it's about putting American businesses and American workers first and making sure that every decision we make in Washington is helping assist American businesses to be competitive in the global world and helping American workers have better paying jobs. What a concept, right? That we actually have a president who, in fact, I'm surprised that this is controversial. I mean, why is it controversial to say every decision we're going to make is going to be putting America's interests first? And he does that. Now, look, the policies have been fabulous. I mean, we cut the red tape and regulation off businesses.
And that was a key point.
Oh, yeah.
When we interviewed him, when Pat Robertson interviewed him, he said that business leaders told him that they would actually rather get rid of all these regulations that were coming out of Washington, even more so than the tax breaks.
Yeah, I was at that meeting when he met with 30 of the major business leaders from around the country. And they think taxes are a problem, but they said that the regulations were an even bigger problem. And of course, so Trump has done both. He's passed an historic tax cut, and he's reduced the regulations and red tape off of business. And then let's not forget the American energy policy. We're now very close, for the first time in 50 years, producing more energy than we consume, and that is a huge change.
Let me ask one more quick question, and that is, there's a phrase going around in circles these days, you know, that yes, the economy is growing at 4%, but this is just a sugar high. It's just so short term.
Well, look, that's ridiculous. These tax cuts are here for good, at least for the next 5 or 6 years. They're just kicking in. The regulations, rollbacks, those are going to stay in place. No, this is not a sugar high. This is a set of new policies that are meant to make America grow for the long term. And you know, these same people who say it's a sugar high are the same people who 2.5 years ago, when I was debating them, said it's never going to work in the first place. Why would we believe these people?
Crash. Yeah, exactly. The book is called Trumponomics. Co-author Steve Moore is here with us, and this is an excellent read. You will learn things about President Trump in this book that you do not hear from the major media. Trust me. Steve Moore, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.
Coming up, some important facts about your health, both physical and emotional, during this holiday season. We'll give you some key insights when we come back.
Parents, the Superbook Bible app is a great way to get your child reading the Bible, because in today's busy world, we can use some help. The free Superbook Bible app has fun stuff your kids will love. They'll have a blast learning the Bible, playing great games.
Did you win?
Watching cool videos, discovering heroes in the Bible. They'll have fun while they learn God's Word. The Superbook Kids Bible app, available now.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
We had 4 jobs that didn't go right, but we didn't waver in our faith.
That's when God put on my heart that we needed to do the well.
Within a couple of days, we got an insurance refund check that we had no idea was coming.
And here we are, this year, it's just boom.
You go out and help other people and you get rewarded for it.
Get Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Miraculous Blessings. It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
And here is a health shocker for you. Even if a person today exercised and ate the same amount as someone did back in 1988, today's person would still weigh more. Believe it or not, health reporter Lori Johnson joins us now to explain what's obviously a depressing fact. So say this is not so.
I wish I could say it ain't so, but it's so.
Really?
And the reason is, and we just saw a commercial about this, our gut microbiome. And we've heard about this. People are like, what is that? In our intestines, our gut, are bacteria, good bacteria and bad bacteria. And when we have too much of the bad bacteria and not enough of the good bacteria, it throws our whole entire system out of whack, including our metabolism. So some people can eat the exact same amount of food, and some will hold on to that fat, hold on to that sugar, and others will burn it. Our gut microbiome also affects our metabolism, how fast we burn up fat. So this is how this happens. And I've seen this in real life too, where two people can eat the same amount of food and one person gains weight. And I'm thinking, what, are you like eating candy bars in secret? But no, it's not true. So the good news is we can get our gut microbiome in shape by taking a good probiotic and eating good probiotic foods like yogurt, kimchi, kombucha.
Okay, that's a good fix. So maintaining the proper weight is more challenging these days than it is in the past. And to make matters worse, now we are at the height of the holiday season where we know what happens. Most people seem to gain weight this time of year, or is that a myth?
The holiday weight gain is a real thing. But what's really surprising is a lot of people self-report that they gain about 5 pounds every year. But the truth is most weight gain for the holidays is only between 1.5 and 2 pounds. That's the good news. The bad news is almost everyone says, I'm going to lose it in January. We know that at the gym you cannot find a parking space in January, but what happens in February? Wide open.
Yes, wide open indeed.
And so the truth of the matter is people say they're going to lose that holiday weight and they don't. So over the years it accumulates 1 or 2 pounds a year. 10, 20 years down the road, you're 10 or 20 pounds overweight. That's a bad thing. I'm not fat shaming here. I'm talking about health. Just 10 or 20 pounds can really make a difference as far as your blood pressure, your risk for diabetes, even your risk for cancer and heart disease.
No, serious stuff. We also hear about holiday depression. Is depression actually worse during the holidays as compared to any other time of year?
Yes, some truth and some myth here as far as mental health and the holidays. The truth is depression does go up at the holidays, especially people who have recently lost a loved one this past year really struggled during the holidays. And they say it's particularly painful because people don't reach out. A lot of people don't know how to minister to people who have lost a loved one. And the answer is just call them. Just call them. You don't have to, quote Bible verses or say the right thing. Just call them and say, I'm thinking about you and, how are you doing? And then just let them talk. But as far as suicide, a lot of people think that the suicide rate goes up during the holidays, and it doesn't. Suicide rate is actually highest in the fall and the spring. So we've got an increase in holiday depression, but not holiday suicide, thank the Lord.
Yes, indeed. Now, you're going to be talking about these subjects on your new show on the CBN News Channel.
That's right.
Tell us
it's
about
called
it.
Healthy Living, and today we're going to talk about ways to reduce or mitigate or avoid that holiday weight gain, also ways to stave off that holiday depression, and also why giving is good for your health. So that's tonight, Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. on the CBN News Channel. It's in cities all over the country, coming to more cities. If it's not in your city, then just go to cbnnews.com.
You got it. All right. Thank you so much, Lori.
My pleasure.
Up next, Hurricane Michael is long gone from Florida, but CBN's Operation Blessing is still on the scene, helping those who are in desperate need. We're going to have that story right after this. Stay with us.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. My husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphan's Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he has, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path.
CBN's Operation Blessing is in Florida, continuing recovery efforts following Hurricane Michael. Ed is a Florida native who rode out the hurricane at home. He says the Category 4 storm severely damaged his home. Operation Blessing quickly stepped in, clearing debris and making repairs to his home. Teams also served the entire community by helping an area church and serving hot meals to residents. And you can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to its website. It's ob.org. Time now for your Tuesday Tweetable. It's a message I hope will first encourage you, and perhaps you will then be moved to post, tag, tweet, and share this with others. Let the mind of Christ dwell in you. With it, you may be only one thought away from your victory. With that word, I encourage you to make this a terrific Tuesday and make the rest of the week a wonderful one. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about, always at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a terrific Tuesday, everybody. We'll see you back here same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.